Mummies are one of the most fascinating things to me. You know, these preserved remains that have managed to survive thousands of years and still tell us so much about the people who lived back then. But have you ever wondered how mummies were made? Hi, it's me and this is my channel, and today we're going to take a look at the process of making mummies in ancient Egypt. So let's get started. The process of mummification was quite elaborate, and it was only done to the pharaohs and their close associates, mostly priests and sometimes wealthy members of society. The first step began with the person who was going to be mummified. They would have to fast for several days prior to the procedure. This was done to allow the body to become free of impurities and make sure it was ready to receive the preserving substances. During this time, they would also likely be given a ritual bath, and their fingernails and hair would be carefully trimmed and cleaned. After the cleansing process, the body would be prepared for burial. This involved anointing the body with oils and perfumes and placing the deceased person in a sitting position, often with their hands and arms crossed over their chest. The head would be inclined slightly forward, and this position was meant to symbolize the individual's journey into the afterlife. Sometimes a wax mask would even be placed over the face to preserve its likeness. These masks were not just for preservation, but they also symbolized the pharaoh's eternal nature and power. They were often made to be exact replicas of the pharaoh's faces, right down to the wrinkles and blemishes. After the positioning was complete, the body would be covered with a special linen cloth. This linen was not just any ordinary cloth, though. It had been soaked in a mixture of resin and fragrant oils, which would help preserve the body and also make it smell nice. This process of wrapping the body in the scented linen would continue until the entire body was covered, and each layer of linen would be carefully smoothed out to make sure there were no air pockets or wrinkles. The reason behind all this careful wrapping was to keep the body as free of decay as possible. The materials used, like the resin and oils, were not only to make the body smell nice, but they were also designed to act as a barrier against bacteria and insects that could cause decomposition. As an added measure, the wrapped mummy would then be placed inside a coffin, sometimes made of stone and other times made of wood. The stone coffins were typically reserved for the most important pharaohs, and the wood coffins were used for other high-ranking individuals. The coffin would then be sealed and placed in the burial chamber. In some cases, the burial chamber would be an underground tomb, while in others, it might be a large chamber above ground. In addition to the human remains, the Egyptians also practiced the mummification of animals, especially cats and dogs, which were considered sacred animals. The process for these animals was similar to that of humans, although on a smaller scale. After the animal had passed away, it would be washed and then dried. Then it would be wrapped in linen bandages and placed in a coffin. Now, the reason the Egyptians went through all this trouble was because they believed that the body needed to be preserved in order for the soul to be able to recognize it. If the body was badly decomposed, the Egyptians believed that the soul would not be able to enter it and would instead be forced to wander the earth as a ghost. Additionally, the Egyptians believed that the body needed to be preserved so that it could be recognized by the gods. If the gods did not recognize the body, they believed that the deceased would not be allowed to enter the afterlife. So there you have it, a look at how the Egyptians made mummies. Do you think it's fascinating or maybe a little creepy? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about ancient Egypt, stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.